Well, we can start
uh,
off by asking you how you're feeling because you just get diagnosed with a sinus infection. That sucks.
you just said that like I got diagnosed with something bad. Well, let's just dive into it. So I have a really hard time with illnesses. So
Ooh, we're diving
I
into
was
that?
why not?
Let's do
Was it
it.
yeah, was it the last ramblings that I cried? I think it was.
I think it was,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I was raised in a household where when we were
Bad
sick,
things happened.
stay tuned for that book. Um, yes, that's not funny, but true. Where it was very often that when the children in the household were sick with legitimate things, there was doubt around the illness, and a lot of pressure to just push through anyways. And so, when that is your experience as a child, you very quickly learn that when you start to feel sick, that maybe you're not, and maybe you're making it up, and maybe you're being a baby, and maybe you're going to inconvenience someone if you have to get picked up from school and come home, or if you have to stay home and then mess up someone's plans for the day. And so
So
that
totally healthy.
is, yeah. And so that is something that I still have not yet been able to master as an
No.
adult. That is still sort of my core, my initial go to is like, I'm not really sick. It's in my head, or I'm being a baby. And you know what? This is perpetuated by a lot of people, like adults, who are like, mind over matter.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I've been exposed to the flu, or like, I feel like I have a fever coming on, but mind over matter. It must not be true. So I don't know. So for me, I guess when you come from that sort of background, mind over matter, sends reinforces that message of like,
Absolutely.
if you're sick,
Just
if you're
deal with
sick,
it.
you're faking.
Yeah.
Well, if you're sick, you're faking, or you wanted to be sick and didn't work hard enough in your brain to not be sick. So it's still your fault,
Right.
which probably contributed to why by the time I finally sought medical attention for my gallbladder that had died, I had a raging infection and a necrotic gallbladder. Because
Yes.
I
Because
was
you,
just like,
yeah.
no, I'm being a baby. Like, this is, it feels like I'm dying because it was. But I feel this way because I'm a baby and I have a low pain threshold. So, yeah, so it's always hard for me to like then go to the doctor, and walk in and be like, something's wrong with me. Because that little like 7-year-old version of me is afraid that they're going to be like, you're a baby, go to your room. What are you doing wasting my time? You're not really sick. So I don't know. So when you say, how am I feeling? Like that's what I'm feeling. It's just hating that this is still something I struggle with.
You,
Like it,
yeah.
I should just be able to be like, oh yeah, this is my sinus infection that I get all the time. I'm taking Sudafed every 4 hours and Motrin around the clock. And now I've started sweating when I'm doing anything that's other than sitting on a couch or sitting in session. Which is what happens because I don't really get fevers, but I get like clammy and sweaty and chills.
Hmm.
I should just be like, oh, yep, time to go to the doctor. I need antibiotics and a prednisone taper. But instead, it had to be this whole like me this morning. Like, do you think I should really
I
go? Am
know.
I really sick? Is it in my head? Like, this is a
It's like, what
conversation.
are you
I'm glad you
talking
don't.
about?
I'm glad you don't just leave the house when I am that way. And you know what? I've yet to have a doctor around that issues. I've certainly had doctors around period pain before I was diagnosed with endometriosis. So this was also reinforced by medical providers
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
right? Like, I had painful, debilitating periods my whole life, and all the doctors until I was 35. When did we meet Dr. Tuju? Probably late 30s.
Yeah.
Until then, it was sort of this notion of like, suck it up. Period. Everyone has periods. Every girl has periods, and just deal with it. And until I met that doctor who was like, oh, you have stage 4 endometriosis. This is not how normal periods are. So all of that was reinforced. So that was a tangent.
Yeah. But it was an important tangent, I think.
I don't know. Was it?
Yeah, of course.
Maybe people are like, I am for sure listening to this show more often now because Jenny is a crazy person.
You're not a crazy person.
We should maybe release one of these like for a limited time only, so people can actually hear what the ramblings are, the rambling episodes.
Oh, that's interesting.
There are a couple people who are like, that's the format I like better on a podcast. I like there to not be topics. I like to just sort of not know what's going to come up, which I appreciate. So maybe we should. Maybe this will be a limited time only thing. Like, yeah.
What do you mean, yeah?
I don't know. Yeah. I was saying yeah to myself. It was kind of like a kid in basketball who like gives himself a high five after he makes a shot. That's what I was doing.
Yeah, but
That's my favorite thing to watch in basketball.
Do you mean release these like for